Sherm Chester along with Sam Bruno and the coach, Bill Taylor. And gentlemen, we got another milestone program that I had to get us all together for. This is the 75th edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. So congratulations on being participants over the past couple of years on this program.
The silver anniversary.
We've all got a silver in our hair for sure.
75. I'm not there yet, but you know.
Oh, well, no, not there, but you got the silver anyway. You got that going.
Yeah. True.
And I'll prove that at the end of the show to you. I got something special for you.
Uh-oh.
And well, Coach, you know, you and I started this program on radio, well, over 10 years ago now. And we've had a lot of fun with it over the years. And any highlights for you?
No. Well, yes, highlights. Yeah, I've really enjoyed doing the show. I like it when we're in the studio, which we'll be able to do once, you know, the virus kind of goes away.
Mm-hmm. And once we can get things under control, the studio's waiting for us. And always new and improved. Our producer, Bob Glowacki, is always doing things to kind of innovate and help us to put a little spin on the show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into the studio.
I think the viewers probably, the way that we all look, I think the viewers would probably like us still wearing masks.
Well, hey, you know, whatever we can do to keep the people healthy, that's all that matters. Well, let's get down to sports. And that's the way we started this show, primarily focusing on the Seacoast sports and Blue Hawks, the Exeter Blue Hawks in particular. Basketball season is just about towards the tail end, and things are shaping up for the playoffs. And I guess, Sam, let's start off with the girls, and then we'll go to the Exeter Blue Hawk boys team.
Sure, Sherm. You know, the season is a compact season. It's going to end on February 2nd. First playoff game is going to be on February 8th, and it's all going to culminate with the final games being played at UNH on February 20th. So that kind of gives you a kind of scope here of what's going to be happening over the next month. For Dave Solkanicki's girls team, boy, it's been a tough last week. What's going to go down in history of Exeter Winnicott games as the heave happened at Winnicott High School last Friday night, when the Blue Hawk girls valiantly took a lead with 10 seconds left to go by 1 point. But a young lady from Winnicott took a pass around midcourt and just sent off a Hail Mary toward the basket. Bank shot off the board and in for a thrilling win for the Winnicott Warriors in what has to go down as one of the great Exeter Winnicott girls games.
She got on ESPN with that shot too.
She did. The fans came flying out of the stands. So much for our announcements of no fans are allowed on the court at any time. Didn't work out. So that game put the girls at 500 at 7-7, and then this past the next game they went to Hudson and took on the Broncos of Alvern, and the Broncos just squeak by 3 points. So 2 tough losses. So the girls are going to wrap up their season with 3 games, 1 at home, 2 on the road. They're going to face the Pinkerton Astros, which is going to be a monumental task, as the Astros are 13-1 on the season. They are an outstanding team. And, you know, for the Blue Hawk girls, they're going to need to play their best defense of the season and hang on to the ball and make every shot count. They wrap up the season going to Londonderry and going to Wyndham, which are both possible win games for them. So juggling things right now, I don't think there's a way that maybe the girls could get a home playoff game, but finishing 500 would be an important step forward for this club and certainly would get them into the playoffs again that begin on February 8th.
And it's also going to, you know, obviously where they stack in that 16 team. And I understand it's going to be 16 teams involved in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, you know, that'll be, the seeding is obviously important, as we found out last year with the Blue Hawk boys in the first round. Going to the boys, again, I said it in our last program, and I'll say it again, Trinity is the team to beat. They're top of the heap, and so far undefeated. And from what I saw, they had only 10 players the night they played the Blue Hawks. The JVs couldn't play because of a COVID outbreak, but the varsity for Trinity showed up, and with only 10 players, took us to school. And they have the potential to run the table and be the top seed all the way. But Pinkerton Astros are another tough team to beat, and that's another one that the Blue Hawks haven't played at this point. So that's probably their biggest hurdle going into the final few games and the seeding part of it. We played Goffstown, we played Girton and Portsmouth, and we played tough against Nashua North. So, Exeter has its fate in its hands. I'm just speculating. I would say we probably will come up with, I'm going to go with 12 wins against 5 losses. That's what I'm going to predict, and we'll see how that shakes.
Don't they have 3 of the remaining 4 at home?
Yeah, we have 1 this week, and 2 more. So 3. You're right, 3 more. We have 3 more.
So certainly an advantage there.
I would think so. Yeah. And Pinkerton is going to be the toughest road to hoe in this next few games that are left. So seeding is what's going to count. Where we stack up, and being 16 teams deep right now, Winnicott is the team that's kind of on the bubble. Merrimack, Winnicott, Wyndham, they're all kind of right there. And we played Alvern. That was a tough team. One thing I was very impressed. I was going to do it this time, and I'll wait until maybe our next program. The top teams, just some of the top players that we faced in those top teams. But for Trinity, it was the coach's son, and I believe his first name is Tyler Bike, and that kid could play ball, and it just I'm going to say that Trinity is going to be the team to beat at this point, but the Blue Hawks have a good shot for sure. Then Bob is going to throw up the standings for us, so we can get a look at the boys' Division I standings, and same thing. We could probably shoot the girls up there as well. Coach, you've been involved in basketball over the years as head coach. Going into the final few games, if you were in the locker room giving them advice, what would you tell their players? Just don't let up, keep the foot on the gas pedal.
What should be happening, and I'm wondering if it is because of the condensed schedule, is you want to be peaking come tournament time. You want to be at your best come tournament time. And boy, it seems like there hasn't been a lot of time between games to practice and for kids to get better. It seems like you're playing a game, and then you're okay. Well, here's what we got to do Friday. You're playing a game on Wednesday, and okay, Friday we're playing another game, and we've got to go over the scouting report. And so you're not allowed to change and adapt a lot. You're basically playing games as opposed to practicing and preparing for an opponent.
Well, one thing I've noticed, and in particular with the Exeter game this year, it's a lot of perimeter shooting, and I'll go to that Trinity game. Trinity took us to school. They were outside shooters too, but they were hitting them. We weren't that night, and the rebounding just wasn't there for the Blue Hawks. The last couple of games that I've seen, and we played a good game against the Winnicott Warriors, came up 14-point winners on enemy territory, so to speak. And the shooters are hitting. Those guys are dialed in, but they have an off night. So if that happens, I see what you're saying. You want to get the guys psyched up, keep the focus going, because this is when it counts. So how do you do that as a coach? What do you just do? You said they don't have a lot of practice time now. Is it just fundamentals or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're at the point now where you're doing a lot of shooting. You're not doing any conditioning. They should be in condition by now. So you're doing drills, shooting drills, a lot of shooting drills, and going over maybe you're looking to tweak your press just a little bit, or to tweak your half-court defense just a little bit depending on your opponent.
Mhm. Okay. I was going to say the Blue Hawks, one thing I will say for us, the gelling as a team, and in the last couple of games, Jeff Holmes has been able, the coach has been able to put in different mixes, give guys more time in, and it's been, I think, beneficial to get their confidence level up, because hopefully everybody stays healthy. That's the other factor. We just kind of have to hope
Yeah,
for the
sure.
best.
Off the bench for the Blue Hawk boys,
Mhm.
how deep do they go? 7, 8, 9?
He uses just about everybody. I mean, I think the only one I haven't seen go in is the fellow that's hurt, Nate Ross.
For the Blue Hawk girls, you know that everybody plays, and Dave Solkonicki's substitution pattern is certainly unique in the state, where he'll change 5 at a time and bring in a whole wave of new players to keep the defensive effort up, to keep the intensity up. And that's what you need. You know, I think we've seen enough high school playoff games to know that defense wins high school playoff games. There aren't very many high school playoff games that are offensive shows. It's the defense, it's the rebounding. That's what happens in those games. And the Blue Hawks girls have some good rebounders in Ari Pompeo, and they certainly have the 3-point shooters in Emma Smith and Erin McElroy and Jaden Rancourt and Haley Harrington. I mean, so they can do it. Again, it all comes down, I think, to turnovers and rebounding in playoff games.
Oh yeah, and in the case of the boys, I use that example with the game against Alvern. They had a player, I don't know how tall the kid is, I'd say around 6'5", 6'7", something in that area. Brendan Graham, their center, and he was a factor in that game. He put up a lot of points. Our guys dialed in, did the swarm, took control, and took charge in the third and fourth quarter when it really mattered. And so I don't want to say there's a standout player. They're playing as a team, and that's, to me, what's more important than anything, is that you can count on somebody coming off the bench to give somebody a blow, or if somebody gets into foul trouble. So far, that hasn't been an issue. I haven't seen anybody foul out of a game that I've seen this year on our side. So, let's just hope everything weather-wise and health-wise keeps moving along. And so, again, the finals, refresh our memory, Sam, about when the finals are going to be and where.
Well, the preliminary round for boys and girls is going to be February 8th and 9th.
Okay.
And then taking a look at the schedule, the quarterfinals will be played probably on the 11th and 12th of February. The semifinal, those are all at the higher seed. The semifinals in the boys and the girls are going to be on the 16th, 15th, and 16th of February at a site to be determined. So we're still not sure about where that semifinal game is going to be played. We don't know, for example, if Exeter High School could be a semifinal site for a Division I boys or girls game. Not sure yet. But again, the new thing this year, just like the condensed schedule, is all 4 finals will be on, I should say 4 finals, Division I and Division II boys and girls, will be at UNH on February 20th, with the boys Division I game kicking things off at 10 a.m. in the morning. Sherm, come on. Your boys, you better get up early that day to be ready.
It'll be a long day for us, but just imagine those poor kids in Division I. They're just waking up at 10 o'clock, man.
On a Sunday morning. Come on. Whoa.
Yeah. Wow. Well, now there again, Coach, back to you. If you were put in that position, you have to get your team motivated that early in the morning. How do you do it?
Well, what you do is you go in, you have a shooting session at your gym. Not a long one, but enough time to make sure everyone's awake and, going through their shooting mechanics. Okay. And you do that. Well, we're only a half hour away from UNH.
Right.
So probably 8:30-ish, 8:15, and that range for about 15, 20 minutes. And a low key, but let them shoot.
Let them get dialed in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Shifting gears here. Hey, Coach, how are things in the Taylor family with girls ice hockey? Jeff getting through the season okay?
Well, I'll tell you, COVID has wreaked havoc on schedules and on players and even on coaches. The coaching staff hasn't been whole since this, probably for about 2 or 3 weeks, and they just got whole. Everybody was coming together on Saturday. I mean, it's wreaked havoc with the schedule, and I think we've played 6 games. We've won 2, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. The virus has really done a number, and because the schedule is compact, they haven't been able to make games up. And they're supposed to play Saturday, and now we're looking at a potential nor'easter on Saturday.
Sure.
So that game might go by the wayside.
Have you heard of Paul? Is Paul DiMarino having any similar problems over on the boys' side?
I don't know for sure. I don't believe so. I know they are playing really well. They lost their first game the other night to Concord. That's a good example. The Concord girls, it's going through their team, so they canceled out on Saturday. The Concord boys were able to play, and they beat Exeter in overtime. So, and Concord is one of the top teams in the division.
Undefeated.
So I know that was Exeter boys' first loss. So I think they've been able to navigate through their schedule. But,
yeah, as we speak, the boys are 5-1-1, and Concord is undefeated. So they're and Coach DiMarino, in the interview we did with him, said that that's the team that basically has to be beaten to take the title, and they're going to be playing again in February 12th. February 12th will be the rematch, but that'll be in Concord. So that will be a big game.
Mm-hmm.
As far as
I mean, that's what's happening. The girls, if we do get that storm, they will have gone 2 weeks without playing a game.
Wow. Oof.
It almost sounds like the Bruins.
It's just the opposite. It's just the opposite of the basketball teams, where they're playing multiple games in a few days.
Right.
They're worn out, but maybe the other teams in the hockey leagues have a little bit more rest here. They're going to go till March until they have their playoffs. They're on a more traditional schedule.
Well, Coach Demo mentioned that it's the rink time is the primary problem there. I mean, if they could get the season condensed, they probably would try to do the same as the basketball did, but because of the rink time and all the getting bus service to go here and there and everywhere and just coordinating everything, it's best to leave it the way it was, and that's why we'll be in March for the hockey. So we'll keep posted on that. Gentlemen, one thing we've always done on this show is we've talked about the national scene as well after we get finished with the local. We saw over this past weekend probably the equivalent of 2 heavyweight fights when it came to the playoffs for who's going to get to the Super Bowl. Sam, you want to talk about any of those games, either of those games?
Where do you start? I mean, you just, Saturday's game both came down to a game-winning field goal at the end. And, I think for the Cincinnati Bengals, I think they're the darlings right now. Tennessee didn't show up in the second half, and that did them in. In the nightcap, what happened to Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I thought Green Bay was going to roll, and they didn't. And they lost that game on a field goal. So both of those first games on Saturday, I thought were going to be defensive struggles, and they were. But I certainly thought Tennessee and Green Bay were going to prevail. I never thought the road teams would win either of those games. Yeah,
well, we talked about it in a previous show that I was thinking it was going to be TB12 versus Aaron Rodgers for the privilege of the Super Bowl. So there goes my side of of the ledger.
Your bracket is blown.
My bracket's gone. Coach, what was your take on those two games, the first two that we
Well,
mentioned?
you know what I would say is, first of all, both number one seeds were defeated. So it says something about teams having to play through and not have a week off, because both those teams had a week off, and I believe in Green Bay's case, they might have had, I don't know how much the starters played in the last game.
Not much.
Oh, while the wild card round was going on, they were resting, but some of them rested for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then to come back and try and play a game didn't happen. You know, San Francisco is one of the few teams to ever win a game without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? Special teams were the difference in that one.
Yeah, it was, I'll tell you, it made for great television watching. If you were a football fan, all 4 games were fantastic.
Oh yeah. Those are heavyweight fights all the way. On Sunday, Sam, you want to go through that?
Well, Sunday was you just shake your head. You just say, what am I watching here? This is just unbelievable. You know, you thought that the Rams were going to roll over Tampa Bay in the first half, and then all of a sudden they can't hang on to the ball and they start fumbling all over the place. And you don't do that to Tom Brady.
No.
You give Brady all those opportunities to come back. Of course he's going to come back. But you know, I think the Rams have the defense to go all the way. I think they could have it. They could have it if they can just get their heads right. I don't know. Maybe it's the LA mentality. I don't know, the West Coast mentality. I don't think they have the intensity, but they've got the players to do it.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the nightcap. That was the game that I was like, I'll talk about what my feelings about that. But first, tell us about that nightcap. Well,
I mean, the most amazing 4 minutes in football history, going down the stretch there between Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and you know, like you said, it was Ali Frazier. I mean, they were just in the center of the ring slugging it out, and who was going to be left standing? That's the difference. But I have some strategy points that I want to bring up as well on that last game.
All right. Well, Coach, before we let Sam strategize, what were your feelings on those 2 games?
Well, my feelings were the Sunday game. I mean, you got to explain to me how Cooper Kupp got behind the safety in the last minute of the game and completed that, you know, that pass. And then, I mean, another strategic mistake. Why did they kick off through the end zone? If they would have kicked short, you would have at least 5 to 10 seconds would have gone off the clock. And instead of giving Mahomes 13 seconds, he might have had a chance for 1 play only and to tie the game. And I mean, as we discovered, 13 seconds was enough time to run 2 passing plays and kick a field goal for Kansas City to tie it up.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you're going to see a rule change in the future, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes in next year, where both teams have a chance. If the first team scores a touchdown, the other team has a chance to get the ball and has a chance to tie it.
I agree with you on that. That was the one thing I said to you previously, that it was frustrating because they were going toe to toe like 2 great boxers. I know there's got to be a bell at some point, but you know, I've seen fights in the past where they just let him go and just let him fire him off as many shots as they could. And in this case, Mahomes came back, bang. Now you let Allen have 1 more time out there. And in overtime, you and I talked about it. I would like to see them in championship playoffs go 1 extra 15-minute period and whatever the cumulative score is, that's the final. And if nobody scores in that, then you have to go to your tiebreaker deals, and you could do the college method or whatever. They could come up with field goal kicking or whatever goofy thing they want to. But I would have loved to have seen one more 15-minute overtime period, and the guy who tallies up the most wins the game. And those two guys deserved it, both of those quarterbacks.
My proposal on overtime change is to go to the innings format.
Okay.
In that the home team in a tie game gets to choose whether to go on offense or defense on the first part of the inning.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody gets an inning. So for example, if Kansas City chose to go second, Buffalo would have the ball, and they would play until they either got a score or 4 downs and out. And then Kansas City would get the ball. Let's say Buffalo scored a field goal.
Mhm.
Kansas City would then get the ball, and they would play and see if they could either tie or win the game. If they both got touchdowns, you got to scrap the extra point. And you have to go for 2. So that gives you 4 chances to break the tie in a play that's just not a kick.
Okay.
So I think the innings format, and then if they're tied after the inning, then they go and reverse again. So then Kansas City would take the ball first, and Buffalo would be, quote, the home team.
Okay.
And you settle it by innings so that everybody gets that innings format. So that's my overtime pitch on that. But no extra points.
Okay.
Always 2-point conversions.
Yeah, that sounds okay by me. I go back to that Brady game. You give him 2 minutes. We've talked about this before. You give him 2 minutes on the clock, he's going to make something happen. And I said to the coach in a previous conversation that what upset me was when the Tampa Bay defense got the ball back for Brady to give him that 2 minutes, they were celebrating in the end zone like a bunch of fools. Come on, get it together, get your head in the game and play defense. Yeah. They did. They got the ball back for him. Now they had 42 seconds. That was too much time, and it turned out to bite him in the tail. So the defense, you're right, Coach. That Cooper Kupp pass play. I mean, it was like, who was covering there? And was he still in the end zone celebrating from the previous plays, or what?
How about Sherm, Coach? How about that call on Eric Weddle? When I never heard of the ball hitting the ground, it's a dead ball, and then if you hit somebody after the play, it's an unsportsmanlike conduct. But you have the ball. It was a 4th down play. You have the ball. You're just penalized. I mean, I just had never seen that before.
And the Brady bashers loved it when he got his first ever unsportsmanlike conduct.
That Whittle call reminded me of the tuck rule. Yeah. I mean, I had never heard of it. I never heard it before.
Yeah. That was different. Yeah, that was a different call. And that one with Brady where he basically got clipped in the chin by I can't think of who hit him, but Von Miller. And he was pointing out to the referee, "Hey, I'm bleeding here, guy." And the referee wasn't listening. He didn't care. No. Well,
now I'm gonna pitch something to both you guys.
Go for it.
And you have to shoot holes in it. Okay.
Oh, all right.
So here's the scenario: 13 seconds left to go, and Buffalo is kicking off to Kansas City. There's 13 seconds left, and you've got a 3-point lead. Okay. So first decision by Sean McDermott is, do I kick the ball into the end zone, or do I squib kick it and run some time off the clock? I have no problem with McDermott's decision to kick it into the end zone, because the squib kick something could happen. It could hit one of the up guys, and then he grabs it, kneels on it, and no time goes off the clock. Okay. Being a clock operator, maybe 1 second would happen if someone grabbed it and kneeled down. That would be about it. So now we've got 12 seconds left to go if you squib it, or you're at the 25-yard line if you kick it into the end zone. Here's my idea. You know that Mahomes is looking at 2 guys, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Why not, with 13 seconds left to go, if you're a defensive back, you hold or tackle Kelce or Tyreek Hill. 5-yard penalty. automatic first down.
Okay.
But 3 or 4 seconds is going to go off the clock. So you do that once, and now the ball is at the 30-yard line. But now you have like 8 or 9 seconds left. You do it again to Hill or Kelsey. Another go. You don't even get them a chance to get into the pattern right now,
Right.
and you're running time off the clock. It's similar to when you have a 3-point lead in basketball, and you're down by 3, and you don't want to give the other team a chance to shoot the 3-pointer. You foul them before that.
Right.
Let them
Right.
shoot the 2.
Mm-hmm.
With that amount of time left, you don't want those guys in the pattern at all. Tell me why that does. Tell me why that plan doesn't work.
No, hey, if you're defensive coordinator, man, I hire you in a heartbeat. I would bought that. What about you, Coach?
Well, now that you say it, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I mean, I can't shoot any holes in it.
Now you've got other receivers. You've got other receivers you could go to.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be in the pattern, but I mean, just shut down the play right away.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the play would be if you're going to defensively hold. That does not stop the clock until the play is done.
Right.
And then the flag is thrown. So you're right. You're forcing Mahomes to go to plan C or D.
You've
He's
got
not going to be able to
Pringle
throw the ball to Kelsey or to Hill.
Yeah. I guess it opens up all kinds of stuff. I mean, you'd have to go into a man-to-man defense, a one-on-one defense. You wouldn't be able to go into any kind of a zone, which is another whole ball of wax. The fact that if you play a pre-vet defense, it prevents you from winning. So I just think with that, only 13 seconds on the clock, you had some other options than to give even Hill or Kelsey a chance to put their hands on the ball.
Well, I was going to say, we've seen some interesting football over this past weekend, and barring any unforeseen injuries or COVID, what are your predictions, gentlemen? Who's getting into the Super Bowl? Sam, let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to start with the second game, the 49ers at the Rams. The Rams have all the talent in the world. My goodness, Stafford and Kupp and Donald and all those guys on defense and stuff like that. But are the 49ers a team of destiny right now? I mean, are they just knocking off the big guys now one by one? Not having to have to travel as a West Coast team to the East in your championship game, I think is huge for the 49ers. So I think the 49ers can do it in an upset. I think the 49ers defense could be that good, but I think it's certainly going to be a low scoring game.
And what about the other?
Well, that first one, Cincinnati, I can't figure Cincinnati out, but the way that Kansas City is playing right now and coming off a win like that, they have just got to be so psyched. And playing that game at Arrowhead Stadium is going to be a huge factor for them. So I can't see any scenario where Kansas City doesn't win by 10, 14 points in that game.
Okay, Coach, I'm putting you on the spot now.
Okay, I think one thing that hasn't been said is San Francisco has beaten Los Angeles the past 4 or 5 times they've played. So the 49ers have shown that they can beat the Rams. I think the 49ers have the best defensive team. They don't have the best big names, but they have the best defensive team left standing out of the 4 of them. I think the 49ers beat the Rams again. I agree with Sam. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but the player of the game, as he was in the game against Green Bay, Deebo Samuel, that guy is immense.
Mm-hmm.
He refused to lose. when he got his hands on the ball, what they needed for a first down, he was going to get. I predict he's the player of the game, and in that game. I agree with Sam also. I don't see any scenario that Cincinnati can go into Arrowhead and beat Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I think we're going to see Kansas City in the Super Bowl against Frisco. And you know what? The last time they met, I believe Frisco was ahead till there were 5 minutes to play in the game.
Yep,
and then Kansas City won their first Super Bowl.
Yep.
So,
I didn't realize that 40 years ago, I guess it is now, the highest rated Super Bowl, and still is, I guess, was Cincinnati versus San Francisco. Could you picture that?
No.
Yeah, they said that during the broadcast the other night. It was Pat Summerall, John Madden Super Bowl, Cincinnati versus San Francisco, all-time top rated for attendance, not for attendance, for viewership.
So that's Boomer Esiason.
Yeah, Boomer was on that team. You're right. That's right.
And Joe Montana.
You got two interesting quarterbacks you got four interesting quarterbacks, but two in particular. Burrows, the young kid who's come along real fast with Cincinnati, makes him interesting, but Mahomes has the guns. And so I would go with Kansas City on that one. And Stafford has been stuck with that dog of a team in Detroit for so many years. He finally gets a good team. I'd like to see him do well, but you're right, Coach. That defense for San Fran is pretty potent. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is. He's not my type of quarterback, I have to admit. But yeah, I don't know. That one's a toss up for me. I got to commit, huh? All right, I'm gonna go. Let's have a rerun of 40 years ago, Cincinnati versus San Fran. How about that? I'll go out on a limb.
Oh, boy.
Brady couldn't be there, so whatever. One other thing I was going to mention, we're going to do a show hopefully in the next session where we're going to be featuring the Super Bowl, obviously, and tailgating. We got a cooking show coming up. We're going to be doing some Super Bowl cooking. How about that? Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, we'll have samples. We got
Fantasy football and cooking.
No,
What's he going to do to us next?
Hey, fantasy football, Coach, just so you know, we finished second and third, our respective teams. We got beaten by one of the other guys in the league, but we were actually in first and second place going into the playoffs. And COVID did us.
I think all credit goes to Sam on that.
Well, you guys hung in there all season long, and it was hard because of all this COVID substitutions and people the last minute getting pulled out of the lineups and whatever. Anything about the Bruins or Celtics you guys want to throw out on the table?
Who?
Who? Come on, Tatum with 51 points. I mean, is he dialing it in or is he phoning it in? What is he doing?
The Celtics, they're unwatchable.
Yeah, I agree.
Unwatchable. Nobody moves. Basketball isn't, they all run to behind the 3-point line, and Robert Williams comes up and he screens for whoever has the ball, and he never gets it back, and nobody ever cuts, and they all just stand and fire up 3-pointers.
That must be frustrating for a basketball coach like you, to see that.
It is. I just can't watch it. I
agree with you. And it's the inconsistency. Go ahead.
I'm just biding my time until March Madness. I mean, there are some college teams out there that are sensational. You look at some players like Johnny Davis for Wisconsin or Kofi Coburn for Illinois, guys like that who are just outstanding players. You look at that Purdue team with their 7'4" Zach Edey playing the middle in those games. If you don't watch college basketball, flip over and watch a few games. It's an exciting brand of basketball, and they play for 40 minutes. It's not like the NBA where, okay, we'll just go back and forth, and then in the final 4 minutes, we'll decide who's going to win it.
Yeah. And anything on the Bruins from either of you?
I didn't realize that Tuukka Rask is back.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
About 2 weeks ago, they actually signed him up to a remainder of the season contract, and Swayman was starting to show a little wear and tear, so they put him back in, and you know, what is their affiliate? What's their AHL affiliate, or is there an
Providence.
AHL?
Providence.
Yeah, he went to Providence, so we shall see him again, I'm sure. But yeah, Tuukka's back for a while, and we'll see how that goes. The other thing in
If
baseball,
you notice, last night they played. That's for the first time. Tuukka played back-to-back games, and he didn't really have a great. I didn't see the whole game, but I saw some, and he didn't really have a great game. I think they're going to try and get him into as good a condition as they can, and he'll be their goalie for the playoffs.
and we don't have really much news about what's going on in Major League Baseball as far as if there'll be a season and when it'll start. So that is a TBA. But we do also have another TBA. Big Pappy, David Ortiz, is up for nomination for the Hall of Fame, and as we record this, today is the day they'll announce it one way or the other. Some speculation that he'll make it easily on the first ballot. Others saying that he probably have to wait at least another year. Anything on that, Sam or Coach? You want to lead off, Sam?
Well, I think it's going to be close. I think he'll make it in the high 70s if he does make it. Or if he loses, it's going to be 73, 74%. I think his final figure is going to be somewhere in the 70s. I think a lot of the arguments against him are out the door. For example, number one, DH shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Come on, it's been 50 years. You've put Mariano Rivera in, and he pitched for 1 inning a game for all those years. So let's not get into whether you play offense or defense or not. I think that argument has to go out the door. The numbers speak for themselves. Over 500 home runs, major league world champion 3 times, greatest clutch hitter of all time, no problem at all. Everything is swirling around the 2003 PED test that was taken by Ortiz anonymously. And even the commissioner has said that was not a valid test and it should not be counted. So people have to throw that out. I just can't believe, for example, that Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe did not vote for Big Papi to go into the Hall of Fame. I'm still kind of trying to figure out where he is on that, but he's Dan
Shaughnessy. He's Dan Shaughnessy, Sam.
He's looking for controversy, I guess, but he's just got such a straight PED line that he's voting on right now, and that's it. So again, my philosophy on the PED controversy is this: PED testing came into effect in the 2003-2004 season. If you tested positive and were punished by Major League Baseball after 2004, you do not go into the Hall of Fame. If you were before 2004 and something came up about that, I don't worry about that, because from 1991 to 2004, everybody was using them. It was a baseline. It was a standard. That's that type of situation. So that's my rule. So that's what I'm sticking to it.
What about you, Coach? What's your take on it?
Well, let me ask Sam a question, because I have opinions on this. Would you put Roger Clemens in?
No, because I think there was enough shadiness after 2004 for him. Definitely Manny doesn't get in because he was taken all the time.
Suspended. A-Rod the same.
Yeah.
But Clemens was never proven that he used it.
Exactly. Yeah, Clemens is a tough pick. Bonds is a little easier to keep out because you visually saw the issue there with Bonds. Mm-hmm. But Clemens is a tough call. Tough call.
About Pappy there?
Well, my feeling is this. I agree with Sam that he is, if he gets in, he's going to squeak in. Do I think he should be in? Absolutely. Do I think, is it going to tarnish his accomplishments and everything else if he doesn't get in on the first go round? To me, no. But do I think he deserves to get in? Yes. Looking at his competition, if they're going to put anybody in, it should be him.
Mm-hmm.
But when you consider that, over 20 electors did not vote for Willie Mays.
Right.
And Hank Aaron was not unanimous. And so if they couldn't put those guys in, who knows? But I do think Poppy deserves to get in, yes. But I'm like Sam, I think it's going to be like he'll get 70 some. If he gets to 75, that's great.
I think
when you're in.
What I think is funny, though, is now how they can, I guess they show a percentage of votes. It's just like the exit polling during elections. And they've actually revealed that he has 75% as it stands in the early results. and he still has, I guess, another 50% of the vote to be tabulated today as we speak. And he has to get 75% of that 50% to be able to swing it into the Hall of Fame. So we shall see. I watched Channel 4 had Dan Roach did an interview with him the other night. And he's pretty sure he'll get in. But on the other hand, big Poppy. But, if he didn't get in, I don't think he's going to be crying alligator tears because he knows he's going to get in. You're right. I mean, it's just a matter of time. The only thing I think that upset him is with this Dan Shaughnessy thing. Shaughnessy has always been kind of a guy that likes to poke the bear, and he poked Big Poppy for sure. And Big Poppy went on one of the Boston radio stations and just let it all hang out. But it's just one of those things where I don't know why he left him off other than his straight stance, like you say, Sam, about no PED candidates on his ballot. That's why Shaughnessy did what he did.
And I think the PED people maybe do it once.
Yeah.
And maybe say, okay, I'm not going to vote for you this year, but next year I will.
Yeah.
So,
you brought up something, Coach, about basketball. Well, both of you did with the Celtics, Shaughnessy. And the only reason I bring it up is he has a book called Wish It Lasted Forever. And it was his days with the Bird era Celtics, and I haven't read it yet. That's on my wish list. I will get to that before the season ends. And it's when the Celtics were the ultimate team, as far as I'm concerned, with Parrish, Bird, McHale, Ainge, and go on down the line, DJ, and all of them. So anyway, but Shaughnessy does know how to poke the bear. 2-minute drill times, gentlemen. Sam, why don't you lead off?
After seeing such great football this past Saturday and Sunday, and looking forward to the championship games coming up this Sunday, I hope the officials keep their flags in the pocket. I'm hoping that they don't call a lot of ticky-tack holding fouls, a lot of ticky-tack pass interference fouls. They're not looking for every chance. The head official is not looking for every chance to get on camera and make an announcement. I thought that in that Kansas City Buffalo game, I thought the officials did a great job. They let those guys play. And I think that's what I hope happens in the finals games, is that the officials don't step in. The choice of officials for the big games, they put together these hybrid teams, and it's not the group of people that go together. I always worry about that a little bit because they may not be on the same page. So I just hope that officiating is not a factor coming up this Sunday.
And Coach, 2-minute drill time for you.
Okay, well, my 2-minute drill is simple because I'm a NASCAR guy. And guess what? The NASCAR season starts February 6th. And the Busch Clash, which is going to be in in a stadium in Los Angeles. They put down a 1/4-mile track, and they're going to run it there. The next generation car, I'm looking forward to the start of NASCAR season.
Amen.
And then they take a break before they do the Daytona 500. And we have Super Bowl Sunday. So this week we got the championship, the conference championships in football. Next Sunday we've got NASCAR. The following Sunday we've got the Super Bowl. And then the following Sunday we have the Daytona 500.
And you know, my friend, I'm looking forward to it as well. And I was going through the Christmas cards, and I got one this year from our friends up there at the Motor Speedway, Shannon Stevens and the gang up there. And why I even bring it up is that, to me, of the 75 shows we've done, and you did that one solo, that's up there in the top 3 for sure, if not the top slot, with the show you did with the gang up there at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So kudos to you. And I know they said in the note she wrote that she's looking forward to having us come up there again and do some business with them this coming season. So you get ready to go up there, man. We're going to do a job up there.
Let's hope.
Oh, we will. And my 2-minute drill. I wish you could see this, Coach. You'll have to watch the finished product. Bob, I'm going to have you put something up on the screen. The other night up at the Exeter High School before the basketball game, I went into Coach Bill Ball's office, and he had a visit from one of his alums, Hunter Long. And Hunter came up to the school to present the coach with an autographed jersey, a game-worn jersey. And I'll read the print. It says, Coach Ball to one of the best coaches and mentors I've had in my life. And it says, all I can say is thank you, Blue Hawk for life, and Hunter Long, number 84. And that was a game jersey he wore against the New Orleans Saints. So class act on Hunter's part to do that. We missed him. Roger Brown and I were trying to track him down, and it was funny because I missed him just by minutes at the school. So Hunter, if you're out there, it's an open invitation anytime. Come on board. We just want to talk to you and find out how that first season in the NFL was, and maybe we can get him on before the Super Bowl or shortly thereafter. That's another on the to-do list. And then, like I say, we have a tailgating show coming up. Hopefully in the next show, we'll kick around the Super Bowl, and 75 shows, gentlemen. Any standouts for you, Sam?
You know, I think anytime we go on the road, I think it's special. I think anytime we have former Blue Hawks who are doing great things somewhere else, I think those are very special shows for us. And I always think that our Dave O'Brien shows are very good. I really enjoy talking with Dave, so I put those in the group.
Yeah, we've had some very good guests, and we look forward to anybody that wants to have it or has any ideas, throw them at us.
And also Jimmy Dunn.
Jimmy Dunn has been a big fan of the show and comes on and gives us some good laughs. And yeah, and recently we had Tim Neverett talking about his book, COVID Curveball. It's been a fun couple of years, and we're just going to keep expanding. Like I say, the cooking show, that'll be really interesting. Bob's looking forward to putting that one together. And I have one more thing, Coach. I wish you could see this. You'll have to watch the video after the fact. I have one more picture for the 2-minute drill. A friend of yours, Scott Mason, sent it to me, Sam. And let's put this one up.
Oh my goodness!
Explain, what are you doing there?
I think we were doing a remote broadcast somewhere, and it was at the school, and it was before a game that was happening, and that sign was blowing over, and they thought it was going to hit me while I was doing a live report from Portsmouth High School, that's what happened.
Oh, I thank Scott for that. We always ask people to send us photos, so thanks, Scott. And after the program, I'll give you Scott's email so you can send him a thank you back. And again, anybody who wants to be a part of the show, Bob will put up the places you can contact us. The Seacoast Sports Forum at yahoo.com is one of them. And, we like to have people participate. We have the fantasy leagues. I've already put the call out for fantasy baseball if we get a season underway. So anybody interested in joining us, do that. 75 in the books, and we'll look forward to, we'll take them one at a time, but we'll look forward to another 75 with you guys. And thank you to Sam and to Coach for being participants in this, and hope you've had some fun. Thanks for all of our guest hosts that have come aboard, Jimmy Tufts, Roger Brown, all the folks that have come on board and helped us out over the past couple of years. It's been fun. So look forward to the next program. And until then, for Sam, for the coach, I'm Sherm Chester, inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. Be sure to subscribe to Exeter TV on YouTube and hit the bell to get notified about new episodes of the Seacoast Sports Forum and other local content. Follow the Sports Forum team behind the scenes on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and send us your game footage and photos to our email. That's seacoastsportsforum.extv@gmail.com. This is Sherm Chester inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum.